Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the Sour Graps NXT thing, which we do on Saturdays instead of Tuesdays when there's a PLE, and Saturday mornings instead of Saturday nights when it's
the NXT Stand and Deliver post show. Is what it is, Alex.
It's early though. It's early.
I first of all was not dancing backstage, so if you saw me flailing in any way, that is not what that was.
I can corroborate that absolutely.
Thank you.
There is not a very small window here on the bottom that I can still see you while the video is playing. And if that even did exist, which I'm not saying it does, because it doesn't, if it did exist and I was watching it during the intro music, you would not have been dancing.
And certainly not.
And neither would I have, actually.
And I know you would never betray me with a crowbar, Alex.
No.
Certainly not.
Or a kick to the nether regions.
My goodness, Alex. The thing I'm most sour about is there's not really anything to be sour about with this PLE. This was a really, really, really solid show, pretty much from front to back. And that kind of ruins the bit, man. It's so what's nice is then it's always bulletproof, because the thing that I have to be sour about is that it was a really good show, and that doesn't let us be grumpy.
I'm not sour about being able to get in and out with this review in 90 minutes so that I can take a nap before WrestleMania starts. That I'm not upset by that at all. So yeah.
On a sincere note, though, there's been so many years with Stand and Delivers and such that we've come on here and been like, man, the in-ring was great, but the booking decisions really detract from that. That's not the case with this one. This was really nice, because I never want to overshadow how good the in-ring is on certain things with the bad booking, but that just happens because sometimes they go so far in another direction that makes no sense that that is the focus. But today I actually felt like this, for the most part, was a really, really, really well booked and well executed PLE. So get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. Before we get into it all, let me give you the old rundown of what we've got going on. FightfulSelect.com, $6. Actually, less than $6. $5.99. Best $5.99 in the biz. You get me and Alex Pulowski behind the paywall tonight and tomorrow and Monday night, doing WrestleMania and Raw After Mania alternative post shows. So if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. Sean has Q&As both today that happened earlier, I think at around the 12:30 mark, and has one tomorrow that are just exclusive WrestleMania Q&As. There were updates already, tons of them heading into Mania. The potential for Rusev to be Randy Orton's opponent was something that was reported on the SmackDown post show yesterday. Sean had said Becky Lynch was returning very soon. He didn't specify what night was expected or if it's even this weekend, but he did say very soon, which I think is great news for a women's division that could use her presence. But plenty of stuff going on FightfulSelect.com, and that SmackDown post show had a bunch of scoops for you that Sean kind of contextualized that he had already reported. So you're going to want to see that here on the main channel. It's Sean and Jeff Hawkins going old school for nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania, and then joined by Andrew Baydala, who is great when he's been around here for that Raw After Mania, just to see if he can keep Sean awake through that Raw post show, because that man is busy this weekend. But we got a lot happening over here, and we've got a good Stand and Deliver to talk about. So get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. We have Luis back. It's a great Mania weekend when we get Luis back, man.
It's a very special day when Luis has returned home. I feel like the empty nesters when their kid goes off to college and then comes back. I don't care if it's just so you can do your laundry and get a home cooked meal. I'm happy to have you home.
Finally, Luis has come back to modding. We're excited about that, but I wish they would explain Luis's relationship with John Cena. That's all. But Maggie is also here.
To have you as well. Yes,
we love having Maggie around these parts.
It's so nice to have Maggie here.
She's the best.
So Vegas puns. it's the day we get to do
Vegas,
this.
baby.
It's Vegas baby puns.
Vegas.
Vegas gambling puns. I'll also accept that as well. So
Yeah, I mean that kind of that's under the Vegas umbrella. I assume it's mostly gambling puns. If you could do like a
it's like
pop star with a residency pun, my God. God bless you.
Brittany Shawn Spears has a residency at was it the Luxor? I don't know where she has a residency. But there you go, right? That's good.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Becky Lynch, also known as Carrot Top. See, it's right there.
It's all right there.
You have all the stuff, so keep it coming. I gave you 2. You can keep
Off the bat.
More. Right off the bat. I didn't even have to think too hard. Come on. So the countdown, the pre-show. It used to be called the kickoff. Now it's the countdown. It's the pre-show. Just like the 0 hour is also the pre-show. It's the pre-show. Don't give your fancy names and try and pass it off with something else. It's the pre-show.
It's the pre-show. Already in rare form. In rare form.
This match made at last minute on Tuesday. Hey, let's try and get the number of women on the show up to an absolutely absurd amount. There are now 18 women on the show, which is great. There's actually 20 if you consider the 2 women at ringside for this match. There were 20 women who were on camera on the show, which is nuts and great, and we're happy about it. But I'll tell you what I'm not happy about is this is the only booking that didn't make sense to me. I love Gigi and Tatum, who end up winning this, but unfortunately, to me, Gigi and Tatum is the one that you picked that I think telegraphs the end of the women's tag team title match on Mania, because I don't think the only thing that makes it possible that they might do face versus face is because of the Lyra Tatum connection, which they actually played up in an interview later. But I still think it'll just going to be Liv and Raquel winning the thing and then retaining on Tuesday. Whereas I thought that all the other possibilities, you could have done some really interesting things there. The thing that made the least sense to me is that Kora and Roxanne apparently went out and got matching gear made. And then they came to the ring. Remember how we thought it was really funny and odd how they became tag champs and then 7 days later they broke up? Well, they said, we're going to one-up you. They're going to break up in the middle of the match before they even become tag champs. Before they win the match that would get them a shot to become tag champs, they're going to break up in the middle of the match for no reason. They had already pinned one of the teams. They got the pinfall on Lash and Jakara. They were working together. They worked in synergy. I'm like, watching the beginning of the match, I was like, yes, this makes sense. You need to call Roxanne up, but you don't have a lot of room to do stuff. But the tag division could absolutely use a boost. And although I don't necessarily think that Kora is ready for it, Kora and Roxanne together would be an act they would absolutely use to the best of their ability on the main roster. An act more than an in-ring performer might be where we go with Kora anyway. So I thought they win this, then they probably beat Bayley and Lyra on Tuesday, and then they go up immediately. And then all of a sudden you got a fresh, new, young team on the main roster that could do some really fun stuff with the tag teams up there. I was thinking all of that because they were working so well together, and they went out and got matching gear made. I mean,
yeah.
So when Kora Jade, so when Roxanne got kicked and fell out of the ring and just stood there, and Kora was currently in the ring, Kora just was just wrestling. Roxanne just starts vaguely shaking her head no and leaves. It wasn't I hate when they do this, but at least it makes some kind of sense that, like, Kora accidentally hit Roxanne, and Roxanne's, you know what? Screw you, I'm leaving. Like, maybe that would make sense. Might make sense if, like, they were getting their asses handed to them because they don't work well together because, you know, coexisting is hard. Like, but no, they were doing well. They had the one pinfall that had already occurred in the match they got. So I don't understand why she walked out at all. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And so once that happened, the rest of the match between the Fatal Influencers and Gigi and Taters was fine. Gigi and Taters win with their, like, double cemetery drive. Good, I guess. But the Roxanne thing continues to confound. Like, if you take this, if you go all the way back to the ridiculous anxiety made me collapse, you got to take the title off of me. If you go back all the way to that, since then, it's been this weird, like, they got to a point where actually she was doing well in this heel character that they just saddled her with and said, go, try and make it work. And she finally did, and then she lost the title. We're like, great, you put her in the Rumble, you put her in the Elimination Chamber, she's on the main roster, but she's not. Although maybe she is now, finally. But she's got a title match on Tuesday, a singles title match for the world title, off of a loss versus. She had that one weird match versus Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, and we've only ever seen her on Raw. Like, none of this makes any. She is the one woman or even male wrestler that makes the least sense of all their booking put together. It's entirely schizophrenic. I have no idea. None of it makes any sense when you combine it with another thing. Crazy.
So this was a generous chat from Tim McFowle, so I'm going to pull it up now. But Tim saying, happy Mania weekend, Kate, Alex, and SGS. Overall, fun show with only minor complaints. Rox walking out makes no sense, but I'm okay with Gigi and Tatum winning. The match should have opened, and it humped. This was WWE Match of the Year for me. So as far as his opener goes, it was so funny because on Tuesday we were talking about how the influx of the new women's kind of heavy hitters and Giulia and Steph and Zaria seemed to have thrown some people off track. And one of those people that we were talking about was Gigi Dolan. And it's such like a have your cake and eat it too, or champagne booking problem or whatever. Yeah. And that I'm so excited for her. And I like the duo of her and Tatum. Like, I love that they are under the same umbrella of types of weird, but also different types of weird. I think that's a really, really fun thing. I do think the history with Lyra actually presents one. I had forgotten about it, and I felt silly as a broadcaster for not having remembered that the Lyra connection was there with her. And two, like that to me actually did plant enough of a seed of intrigue of who was going to win. I feel like if Kora and Rox had won, that would have really telegraphed it. But
considering that the thing they always return to is that Kora and Roxanne just can't play together well. I thought they might have won this and then turned on each other in that match. You know what I mean? Right. That's always a possibility, considering this is what we got here. You know what I mean? So
the way that they went about producing this angle, I did not like. As far a lot of the in-ring was great. I really liked when Roxanne countered Lash's power into the Pop Rocks. There was some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
with
that was great.
I hate that you mentioned Roxanne's booking, and we've talked so extensively about how Trick has had bad booking, but that's been within NXT. I feel like so much of why Roxanne's booking has been weird feels like, I don't know, it's not a report, but it feels like it's at the mercy of what the main roster is doing with the tag titles, was doing with her trajectory, was doing with her feud with Bayley. And I kind of feel bad because it's like then HBK has to turn around to do something to get her on the Stand and Deliver pre-show of all things. And they kind of just went back to the Cora Jade well because they kind of didn't have anything pushing for Cora really going outside of that, because she'd been doing just so much work on like TNA and a lot of peripheral stuff. So I'm like happy because I think Tatum and Gigi actually work really well together.
Yes.
And of all of the out of left field booking, if you were going to do something like that, I think this was the match to do it in, because Lash and Jakara, I feel kind of bad for them because it feels like they were at a little bit of a dead end. Man, Jakara, just like the charisma meter with that woman is off the chart. She's so much fun to watch in the ring, and Lash has come such a long way and is so unique in this division. And it's like it kind of feels like I would like to see some fresh programming for the people who didn't win. I'll put it that way. I was hoping that Kora and Rox would win, and maybe they would come back to NXT because they've been so heavily like. I thought if Kora and Roxanne won and they won the main roster titles, oh, maybe that's the way you make them float, because Roxanne has been on the main roster and in NXT. Like maybe they actually float, but God forbid we get that, because this NXT women's division deserves to have its own separate tag title. So, this was a little confounding. I thought the match was fun outside of the nonsensicalness of that, but the nonsensical of that was overpowering because I don't know how you I don't know what Roxanne can say on Tuesday that justifies the way that she just walked out on her. That was all very, very odd.
I don't
very,
know,
very
but people
unprovoked, I would say.
I mean,
it would be like if I was just like, I would have had to do this.
Right.
And just left you.
But then again, that's been your character for the past several months at least. You exit voluntarily during the streams most times.
Yeah, but usually that's because something so bad happened on NXT. I have to leave.
Right. Or I will say something that just makes you want to go away.
You'll predict. This is what it usually makes me want to go away. You'll fantasy book something bad that has a very high possibility of being true, and then the likelihood that reaches its potential makes me have to go.
Do you want to go ahead and leave before I predict this or after it? Because great. Roxanne versus Steph is happening on Tuesday. Spoiler alert: Stephanie Vaquer retained her title in the 4-way, but they did a little angle on the pre-show with Roxanne and Steph. Kora Jade is absolutely costing Roxanne that title, and then Kora and Roxanne are going to enter into a 6-month-long singles feud because they still have no room for Roxanne on the main roster and have nothing else for her planned. That's my prediction. You want to come back now, or okay? There we go.
I'll come back, but it's just going to be eyes and bangs up because I can't handle the possibility that's true. I will say this much. I have always kind of thought, I'll just slink all the way down because it's funny.
Yeah.
I have always kind of thought that that Kora would be Roxanne's swan song, like that would be the case.
Me too. Yeah.
But they haven't done that, and I think that they should finally do that, but I don't think it should take that long. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I stand at it. I also think there's a possibility that something happens at Backlash with Roxanne and Bailey. So we'll see if they revisit it. I just don't know. I would like to know. I would like for it to make sense, but I don't.
I think I'm probably overshooting it with 6 months.
But
it won't be a one and done. Mike Shutt is right. It'll be a month until the draft.
Oh yeah, I could see that, and that's honestly that's Roxanne, not the worst.
Roxanne feuding with Kora winning the final match that they have, and Roxanne being called up in the draft, officially called up, makes some sense. You know what I mean?
It would. This is not an NXT problem. So know that my griping isn't reflective of NXT.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous to me that someone would have to get drafted to the main roster when they were in a Royal Rumble and an Elimination Chamber and set a record in a Rumble and were runner-up in a Rumble. That is stupid.
How about this? How about Nick Aldis signs her to an exclusive SmackDown contract, and then Adam Pearce drafts her to Raw 6 weeks later?
And then she enters the transfer portal to go back to NXT and also SmackDown. Nailed it.
True. Awesome. Fantastic. Yes, I'm very happy for Gigi and Tatum. Shotzi was there with them. It was nice to see Shotzi back.
Yes.
So that was pretty decent. And I'm happy for them a lot. And honestly, they did the backstage interview, and Tatum was like, "Oh my God, does this mean we could be facing my beloved Lyra?" And I was like, "This is fantastic character consistency. It is so good. It is the best, and it is so rare, and should be the norm."
Yes.
All wrestling characters who have history with other wrestlers should remember it all the time and insist on referring to it when they have promos about or concerning the other person or to them. All of them. And so rarely does it happen. This was great. What an awesome little touch from Tatum. I hope that Lyra and Bayley win. I hope they win anyway, but I hope that they win. No, actually, I don't, because I don't want both the tag titles on the Intercontinental Champion. That would be terrible. But if they do, at least there is some solace that Taters will get what she wants, which is a match against Lyra. So.
It's true, and also you can never hold two titles for more than 20 seconds. So
well, you can on the main roster apparently. So
I guess so.
We started the show proper with the one normal match on the card.
I was kind of surprised,
felt
but
like
I liked
it needed to be in the middle
somewhere.
Like, this needed to be especially with the way they put it together. This is a breather match. Was very well wrestled, competently wrestled between Ricky Saints. I was going to say Ricky Starks.
It's going to take a minute.
and Ethan Page. Always, it was very, very, very good. I can't say anything bad about the way it was wrestled. It just felt weird as an opener because it was, like, hey, it starts out hot, but then the heel takes the advantage on the outside and presses the advantage. It was, I don't know, 13, 4, I'm gonna look it up. But like, didn't feel it was very long, and the finish felt very rushed.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
I actually went back and got timestamps and figured out how long it was. From the time that Ethan Page hit the ego's edge on Ricky Starks, from the time Ricky Starks kicked out of Ethan Page's finisher to the time when the 3 came down on Ricky pinning Ethan with his finisher was 50 seconds. I'm fine with him kicking out of the finisher in this particular context. But then you got to take some time to recover from it before you can hit your flurry to win the thing because of the way the match wasn't laid out as a mile a minute. Everybody's hulking up through the pain and going crazy. It's not a Will Ospreay and Takeshita match where everybody's going crazy back and forth. This was not plodding in a bad way, but it was methodical. Like, this spot leads to this. We sell for a while. I gain the advantage. I do this to you. You counter me. And it just felt like this was a way it was laid out in that way. So the fact that the finish of the match went boom, 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 and done, I was like, you were just getting good. It happened so fast, I was sure, because Ricky kicked out of Ethan's finisher, that Ethan was going to kick out of Ricky's finisher the first time. And then we get 2 to 4 more minutes where business really picks up. And then Ricky does it again. And this time Ethan's got no answer for it. The fact that it went home in that way felt like, oh, was this match cut for time? It's the curtain jerker. They don't usually do that to the curtain jerker.
No. And we ended a couple minutes early, actually, from a 3-hour time frame. Yeah.
It just didn't quite work. But I mean, obviously I thought that Ricky winning was the play, but
sure,
it also, this feels very cut and dried and one and done. But I didn't want that. Ethan and Ricky feels like a feud you could do a few times.
Sure.
Like we haven't even gotten a proper promo battle between these two guys. You know what I mean? Like the match was made by Ethan winning a fatal 4-way on Tuesday, and then decided to talk a little bit of trash on Ricky, but Ricky came into the ring and immediately hit him. And we didn't get anything between them. So I thought this was building, maybe like Ricky wins by DQ. because Ethan can't put him away, so he gets a chair and intentionally gets disqualified, but lays Ricky out. You know what I mean? And Ricky goes to Ava and says, I want him again. He doesn't get to do that to me on my first PLE match. I want him again. Really? I mean, you already won. You won by DQ. Put him in your rearview mirror. No, it ain't about that. It's about principles or whatever. And that's how we get the second match, which actually ends with Ricky winning definitively. I feel like that was in the cards, but this, the way they ended it especially, feels very one and done, which I just didn't think we were getting out of this.
I liked a lot of the match, but I agree with you. It was when you have a ladder match in the middle.
Yeah.
And you have this as the opener. It kind of just feels like that's a really easy.
You had that tag match second.
Right. Yeah.
That tag match was the opener. Like the way that they wrestled it, the result of it, that was the opener. And you could have easily done this third or fourth. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, actually, sandwiched between the ladder match and the women's world title would have been a really, really solid spot for it. But there were a lot of things in the match I did like. That power bomb on the apron was, whoo boy. Yeah. The spot that went over the announce table too, like they consider it. And this isn't me being like whatever. I sincerely mean this. It was what time their time? This started at 1 Eastern, so this was
9.
11 a.m. 9?
No, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Having that type of intensity when you've probably been there since 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whatever. Like they did a really, really good job of having that much energy that early, because that's for any athlete, never mind a wrestler who is an athlete and a performer, right? The way that messes up the fluidity of how you prepare for things, just your energy level. Like when you are trained to perform mentally at night most of the time, afternoon at best, performing in the morning is weird. If you talk to athletes that have been like NFL athletes that go to Europe or MLB that has done games like overseas and stuff, they don't like it because it messes with the flow of that. So I was just like really, like I was drinking my coffee watching, you know what I mean? At 1, the fact that they brought this type of effort to it, I really appreciated. I was kind of expecting, even just by nature of this version of NXT, I was expecting some sort of shenanigan. I don't think this is one and done, even though I understand why you would draw that conclusion from this match. I'm just wondering if like the sadisticness that we saw from Ethan Page with Javon kind of comes out and he can't handle the fact that he lost to Ricky or something. And he's just, he can't let it go. Like, I think maybe that's a direction they head in, but very well wrestled. These two like have really good chemistry, and they're, like the ring psychology was there for this. Like whoever produced this, you could see how it was. I don't mean this in a negative way, kind of textbook face and heel, which I think is a good route to go for what we were getting. So I really liked it, but I agree with you. It was kind of an odd spot on the card. I get opening with a singles title match, but even just the fact that this was the only like one-on-one match on the card, you would think it would get sprinkled. Match on the card. Yeah, like, you would think it gets sprinkled in there somewhere, but I still had a lot of fun with it. But I agree, it felt like it fell in a weird spot. Yeah. I hope we get more out of these two because I thought it was great, and they're two of my very favorites.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk about this now to get it out of the way, but I still feel like I need to talk about it. Lexus King met.
I was like, wait, I thought the show was fire. What is he gonna hate on? And then I was like,
he met Penn from Penn and Teller and said that magic wasn't real. So Penn put the Heritage Cup on a stool in a cage with blinds that come down over the cage, and then was talking to him, and we hear a very distinct from inside the cage. I'm like, I wonder if that is your partner telling you that he has opened the false back of the cage, removed the Heritage Cup, and sat there himself. And oh, look, it's him. He's there. Also, Teller yeets better than Michael Cole. Because Teller was in there wearing a Yeet
What a
shirt and Yeet
sentence.
blasted, and he was doing this, which is a lot better than the way Michael Cole yeets, which is up. You don't do up. We've talked about this
No,
on
that's
the
a
Raw
reverse yeet.
review. You talk about this in the Raw review. He looks like he is a Dust Bowl housewife shooing a stray dog off the porch with her apron. He does this. Get out of here. Get on out of here. That's what he's doing. But no. This is much better because you got to go down with it. That's much better.
Is this baby
King,
heat?
Lexus
Baby
King
heat.
was like, "Where's my Heritage Cup?" Also, he said that magic was a ruse, and I wanted Teller to say, your beard is a ruse. Your beard is a ruse. Your beard is fake, sir. But later we saw Lexus King looking for the Heritage Cup, and he couldn't find it. Was there a third scene that I missed where he did find it? Or is this the in-canon way they are getting rid of the Heritage Cup and making it into an NXT Heritage belt?
No. This is what I worked myself into. I thought by the end of the show, it was going to appear in the hands of Noam Dar. And when it didn't, I got very upset. I was waiting because that looked like it was going to be the through line. I was like, oh my God, Noam Dar is going to appear in its place with the Heritage Cup and all my dreams are going to come true. And then it didn't happen.
This is a rule of threes skit.
Yes.
First one, it disappears. Second one, he's looking for it. Third one, he finds it in an unexpected place. But as far as I know, I did not see a third scene. So
no, Tuesday, Noam Dar is going to crack him over the head with it.
The third, because they're still in Vegas, so they can still do magic stuff on Tuesday.
Yes.
But I was just worried this was the way they got rid of the Heritage Cup. That it got magicked out.
No. First of all, listen up, Lexus King. As a Nigel McGuinness stan, I feel like I have to stand up for the side of magic. Magic is real. Go to his show. You won't be able to tell what anything happened. I was also able to tell what happened with Ben and Teller because of the very loud noise in the background. I'm sorry that they're hacks, but Nigel McGuinness is real.
It literally sounded like this.
And cut. Like it was so loud.
It was so and as soon as you heard it, like Pan is looking at King and you hear this. Okay, well now let's shake and look out. Like this isn't how you guys do actual magic on the show, right? There's nobody anybody would pay to see that. With obvious sound cues and stuff. Come on.
I would be in for the bad magic show. Like I don't think you could run a residency off of that, but I would be here for it. I am always booking Noam Dar to come back. Not in a serious way because injuries are injuries and he should take as much time as he needs to heal. But I miss him so much. So that has to be what is happening. It has to be the way Noam Dar comes back.
I have another Vegas pun. Pete Pan and Teller bait. Pete Pan and Teller bait.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan and Teller bait. So
Lexus King shoots on magic.
Yeah, he does. She shot on magic.
He was kind of proven right because it was very obvious.
Yeah. Hank and Tank are your new tag team champions.
They are.
And this is the best storytelling NXT has done in a while. Like it started in February. Like they started the Hank and Tank don't know what to do. Who are we really? Hey, Hardy Boys, we just want to know, how do we become you? And you got to be more extreme, but being extreme doesn't work. Let's try and be more like this team. Well, that doesn't work. Let's try and be more like this team. That doesn't work. We got to find ourselves. And so it started in February, went all the way to the thing that it where they act all the teams that they lost to during their losing streak, they pinned in the gauntlet match.
Yep.
They even had some decent little backstage stuff with the Blurry Boys. Nathan Frazier was dismissive, but Axiom was like, "Hey, good for you guys. We look forward to wrestling you." Like, it was a really good little build of this thing. Like, starting in February with a definitive plan in place and seeing it through all the way to April 19th. In this company, that qualifies as long-term storytelling. In this company, that is the equivalent of Hangman dethrones Kenny. That is how long this storytelling. That is a very long-term storytelling. So, like, I'm happy that they actually went to it. Like, they went all the way through it. They had this. They did it. There have been times where I thought maybe it was time for the Blurry Boys to lose, and they didn't. There was a definite time where I thought it was time for them to win, and they lost. That was against Chase U for some reason, and then they won them back. So they've had a fantastic run, and it is past time for them to move to the main roster. However, it is this company and these people, so they may be in NXT for the next year. They may turn heel. They may have to have a heel run in NXT.
They may not be able to coexist.
They might have to break up and then feud against each other, and one of them will be heel. Boy, heel Nathan Frazier, won't that be fun? Maybe he'll put on some black eye makeup.
Like, Nathan Frazier with black lipstick is a visual that I now need. This match was great.
It was great. There are people I've seen who are like, Hank and Tank, really? Those guys? And whatever you thought of their in-ring work before today, you have to look at what they did today and be like, okay, they can hang. You know what I mean? I for a while, like, Hank was the former security guard and Tank was his little too coked up buddy. And they're a real Coca-Cola.
He was a security guard with only one set of clothes.
He was a security guard with one set of clothes, and he met a fellow who was addicted to Coca-Cola, and those two friends became Hank and Tank because their names rhymed, and it was like, it's fun, it's cute, you know what I mean? And they actually put it all together over the course of several months. Finally, this was their audition for how to be a real tag team. And I think they passed with flying colors. This was excellent, and the crowd was super behind it. This was one of the best face versus face, straight up, all the way through tag team title matches I may have ever seen. Really, really good.
I in general have learned that, like, I try not to comment on anybody's physique, good or bad, because I've learned that even people with incredible physiques, it's not good enough. If I look like $1 million, why don't I look like $1,000,001? So I blanket try not to say a lot of things, but I would be remiss if I didn't note, like, the conditioning of these guys has improved dramatically, and it showed up in the ring, both in the gauntlet and tonight, because this morning, today, because Fraxiom is a very fast moving team, and that gauntlet, by nature of a gauntlet, when you're in there first, you are wrestling a long match against a lot of different teams that all have different styles, which is what they got fed. And they did great in that, and they did great in this. And I really, really like these two. The combination of attributes in this whole thing was so great. And you're right, it didn't feel like, but which one's a face and which one's a heel? Because there was, like, this actually kind of beautiful story of, like, finding yourself and that leading to success after trying to be so many things that you actually aren't. Like, it was done in a silly way of, like, we're trying to be the Hardys and we're trying to be Pretty Deadly and whatever. But, like, anybody who is, especially an adult, and it's a good lesson for kids, like, finding yourself is a process, and the idea that led to success for them is beautiful. And we even get this promo later about how they got to do it with their friends and that they figured out who they are. Like it was really sincere and really sweet. And the match was just incredible. Like this is one of those ones where I don't have spots written down or whatever, just because from bell to bell, I was really, really impressed. Yeah. The combination of speed and power in this made for some incredible dynamics, but I've been so impressed by how Hank and Tank have been able to keep up in the ring, because the way matches are often produced for bigger guys, and by nature of the limitations of being big dudes, sometimes they aren't allowed to have the speed and explosiveness that we've gotten from them so far. And this was fantastic. What a cool moment. And I like that they are fun and entertaining without being something that we laugh at but laugh with. That's been the transition for them, I think. So just all around awesome stuff. Fraxiom should go to the main roster, dethrone the New Day on Monday. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, do it. Get that done. I for sure. I also loved the backstage interview. Like more important than doing this, it was doing this with my best friend. Like they were both tearing up a little bit. Like that kind of real emotion, like is the thing that can help to like move me, you know, as a fan to like, I root for these guys now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I want these guys to have this continued success, because it obviously means a great deal to them. The other thing is that, again,
I say it every Tuesday. Podcasting is fun.
Yeah.
But doing it with you hate friendship though, so I can't. Unfortunately. It's a shame that you hate friendship.
As evidenced by me bringing up this backstage interview, I do. I hate friendship and everything that but the thing that I thought was interesting is I've seen people who were like, Hank and Tank seem like a very silly team that lost a bunch of matches recently, and then like, you know, they won a gauntlet, yeah, but and they were thinking about like teams that that all the teams that Fraxiom beat, this is the team they lose to, really? Hank and Tank? And I'm like, here's the thing that I think is kind of interesting if you really think of it this way. They don't have anybody who could match up to Frazier and Axiom in ring. They just don't. So you have to do character storytelling and get people to like this. The reason they won is this, not because they were better in the ring, but because of this thing. And the thing that they have, and although I would disagree, but a lot of other people would say, the thing that they have in common with the other team that beat Fraxiom is heart. More than anything else. They just wanted it more. You know what I mean? Like they have this thing of we won't say no. We're going to keep coming at you, and like, because it means so much to us. Like that kind of a thing. So like, if that is indeed like the overarching thing of like Fraxiom being better in the ring than everybody else, but if they come up against the right team that like has enough to keep up, but then they've got that heart, maybe that's the thing that like that they can't quite overcome, because they are superhuman in how fast they can move and everything, but maybe they're more machine-like, that because their friendship has been the thing that we have seen has been tenuous. If they find a team that like absolutely is on the same wavelength and
all the time,
all the time, maybe that's the thing that gets in the way. So maybe that's part of it. Although this is not an invitation to break up Frazier and Axiom, send them to the main roster, keep them as a tag team for years, have them dethrone the New Day on Monday, and then have them go on a fantastic tag run, because they're great together. They are so much better together as this tag team than I think they would ever be allowed to be as singles wrestlers. Please allow this to keep going. Please.
I would also just add that we sing the praises of Vic Joseph quite a bit. He allows. I don't know if I've actually said this on a podcast, but there's something with wrestling commentary that I just am like, it's show and tell, and it's a give and take of show and tell. And when commentary overtells, which Michael Cole does a lot right now, it really dampens the product, Vic Joseph allows them to show and just is a fantastic soundtrack to it. That was something I noticed very much in this, is that he will dictate to you the story, but he also allows you to be smart enough to draw your own conclusions. This is the most I've ever liked Corey Graves. Booker T, still not for me, but like I'm just continually impressed by how Vic Joseph can really anchor products like this. And when he's given something so great to call, he adds so much to it. And I really just felt like he's one of the best of getting out of the way and letting the show part happen. Because I feel like this story was so beautifully executed in that way. And I love your point about like the thing Fraxiom doesn't, they have all the skill in the world, but they aren't on the same page. And the two guys that discovered themselves and are on the same page more than anybody, that was the thing that kind of put them over the edge. Just beautifully done.
Ranchkin is saying Hank and Tank, best story at NXT. Certainly, like over the past month and a half, 100%. And then Ryan Chikini is saying Hank and Tank also don't need a long run. Here is where I cannot stop my brain because I am a specific kind of mentally ill. I cannot stop my brain to spinning out the worst case scenario for how this all ends. Hank and Tank are absolutely losing the titles to Swipe Right. Swipe Right is the anti-Hank and Tank. They're the ones who are...
Is it terrible? I mean, I know you hate Swipe Right, and I understand. Is it terrible if that happens in 8 months? Or 6 months? You know what I mean? Because they're really good in the ring.
I think it happens in 2 months.
That I don't want.
Yeah.
Because I understand what that is saying.
Like,
they don't need to have a long run. But I actually want them to have a longer run because of what you said. If you... Mackie just says, Alex, no. The thing is, Swipe Right are excellent in the ring. Yeah. There are so many people that don't watch NXT on a weekly basis. There's more that do. Like we're seeing the ratings go up, but the reason people have that perception of Hank and Tank is they're not watching the weekly products. So they just know the goofy stuff they saw online and the Hank and Tank from a few months ago and whatever. So I want them to have a long enough run that shows more of what we got tonight. But
yeah, I don't want this to happen, but that's how my brain spins things out to the worst case scenario literally all the time.
Well, it also, God bless you for fighting every day because I've been there. But I do think what's tough with the NXT tag division right now too is it's just kind of an open field. Like they committed to this story and that's awesome. But in committing to this story, there weren't a lot of other teams that like, it didn't feel like, well, obviously these two teams are up next. You know what I mean? I hope Malik and Idris get, when they're both healthy, get a real time to shine because they were doing some really good work. And then they had an insane match with Fraxiom. So I just hope for those guys that they get a second to be able to return to form.
Congratulations to Hank and Tank.
Yes.
It's been a long time since we've seen a non. I mean, Chase U was tag champs for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it always felt like Fraxiom was getting it back. So it's been a long time since we've seen a non-Blurry Boys tag division.
A non-Blurry Boys tag division.
You know what I mean? So we'll see it. We did the ladder match next, which I honestly thought for a while that a member of the crew had lowered the thing from the or they bring it all the way down, they put the belt on it and they raise it back up. I thought they raised it like up 2 feet too far because all the ladders they were putting in the ring, I was like, if you stood on the top, not on the top rung, but the top of the ladder, Thea Hale would just be waving at stuff. She wouldn't be able to get it on her tippy toes. So I was like, either those ladders are incredibly undersized or that belt is too high. It turns out they were the fake ladders, and they only brought in the real tall ladder for the time where they were actually going to climb it. This was a lot of fun. Izzi Dame got to do a lot of the power stuff that I thought they were going to give to Zelta.
Me too.
So Izzi Dame got to show out because those are big spots in this kind of match, but I did think they were going to give those to Zelta. Everybody in the match got to do fun stuff. And the finish of the match was the right call.
Yeah.
It was the call they probably should have made the first time they did this in June of last year. So Ruca is your new NXT North American Women's Champion. And she did it by hitting a super soul crusher and then another one after doing a full, she skinned the cat on a ladder.
What was that?
So Ruca is special. And she is going to, I think she's going to have a fantastic title reign. Mostly because she's already got a baked-in rival. Because the moment at the top where she and Zaria Zelta stood at the top and just looked at each other, and it's usually. We say this when it's two male wrestlers, but I thought they were gonna kiss. It was this moment where Zaria reached out and was cradling Sol Ruca's head in her hands, like she was caressing, putting her hair behind her ear. And I was like, this is something I did not think we were going to get. But it wasn't that. It was I don't want to hurt our friendship, but I'm definitely going to become champion right now. You know what I mean?
You're not going to react well to that. Yeah.
And it was interesting. Zaria did not hit Sol first. Reawakened the monster. Sol was the first one who threw the punch. Sol was the one who knocked her off the ladder. They kept showing Zaria looking up at Sol Ruca. This is my prediction. And I don't know that they're going to do it, but I think it would really make a lot of sense. Zaria talks to Sol on Tuesday and says, congratulations. It couldn't have happened to a better person. I'm so proud of you. But I do want a title shot. Of course, you're my best friend and my tag partner. Of course, I will go to Ava right now and you can have the first title shot. Absolutely, we'll do that. Thanks, buddy. And then she leaves, and then Zelta's face just
drops. Yeah.
And then when they have the match, Zaria destroys her. Sol Ruca thought she was going to have a fun match. The way she had a fun match with Kelani, she thought she was just going to have a fun match with her buddy, Zaria. And Zaria's like, no, I am destroying every ounce of you to become champion. And Sol loses and is like, what gives? And it was like, this is why I came here. I did not come here to become best friends with anybody. I came here for gold. That's why I came to NXT. This is mine now, and not you or anybody else is taking it from me. And then Sol begins a long process of climbing back up to get the title off of Zaria, let's say deadline-ish. You know what I mean? Like a long process of doing it with a strong, impossible to beat Zaria with the title for 6 months. And Sol has her moments of trying to get back and getting it. And that's when she finally does. That'll be her real story. I think there's a really good opportunity to do that. I don't think they're going to do that because they never do the things that I really want them to do. But that would be a really, really interesting story to tell with that belt. And it would allow the Zelta Zaria that we wanted to be present. I hope.
I really, really liked a lot of this match, and I love the outcomes. First of all, I felt like the person who needed to have breathing room to showcase herself the most was probably Izzi Dame going into this, and they gave that to her. And I'm so glad. And I like that she was involved toward the end because I think it also supports the story that we're getting with the culling. They're this dark, weird cult group, and they can't seem to put it together. And Izzi coming close but not winning and looking great in the process kind of goes to show whatever they're telling there is different than most culty stories that we get in wrestling, right? Normally they're ones of dominance and then we see people lose. I'm kind of intrigued by this whole thing of we can't get it together as a group to make headway, really. I think that's actually quite interesting. We don't get to see enough of that type of stuff in wrestling. Loved all of this. Like, I'm so glad that this version of Kelani has come about. I think she's really starting to understand how she participates in matches so well. And I love so much of the Soul and Zaria interactions. I noticed that too, that Soul was the first one to throw the first punch. I love that they gave it to her and not Zaria. And I said this on Tuesday, but I was reflecting on it more. They really have done a good job of making sure that the incoming free agents haven't overshadowed this division by doing things like have Ruca win, by having Jaida Parker in that main event. I'm not a big multi-man person, but like I get why they did it. And I think it's really good that they've still made that generation feel like a priority in things. And I think Zaria is the one to dethrone Soul. I don't think it happens that quickly, but they've done a good job with that kind of stuff. I like your idea. I think maybe the monster of Zaria grows over time, and that like she maybe she does get that first title shot, and she beats the hell out of, maybe doesn't beat the hell out of Soul, but is commanding the match, and Soul escapes with one Soul snatcher in the right way, and then Zaria starts to get more and more jealous and squashes and gets angry. We kind of build up the legend before she comes back for Soul Ruca. Which I don't hate.
I wonder if the way they extend it before they do the turn is by basically having her be Soul Ruca's Diesel.
That'd be fun.
No, hey, you're my best friend. I'm going to watch your back. Like, the first people that come after the North American title is obviously Fallon Henley, who still is obsessed with getting it back. But who's on the outside? It's Jasmine Nix and it's JC Jane, and you got Zaria out there making sure they don't get involved. If they do, they eat an F5. You know what I mean? I am here to protect your interests because if I'm not out here, they would, and I'm not going to let that happen. And the reason is because I'm going to lull you into a false sense of security where you need me. And if you don't have me, you're going to lose. And then I'm going to parlay that into, hey, maybe I get the next title shot. I mean, I'm just fun. And I'm just JK, LOL. I don't even want a title shot. No, you can totally have one. I mean, wouldn't that hurt our friendship though? No. It'll be fine. We're best friends. We're besties. That'll never happen to us.
It's very Talladega Nights what you're laying out.
For
those of you who saw it.
I mean, listen.
Very Cal Naughton Jr.
It's a classic for a reason, okay? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right?
Shake and bake. That's what I say. Yeah. Guys, get in your super chats and humper chats, by the way. We are scooting along. We are almost an hour into this, and I've played no ad reads because it's just been a good show.
But that's crazy.
It is crazy. And honestly, like, what do I even do? What do I even say? Like, if I were to have laid odds on whether or not I would have played an ad read within an hour of the show starting, I certainly would have said yes.
I mean, what are the odds of that?
BetOnline AG. All of our odds that we've ever gotten from wrestling, MMA, boxing have come from BetOnline. We are so proud to be doing business with them. A lot of you guys are saying, wait, you can bet on pro wrestling? Yes, you can bet on pro wrestling. In fact, I've got it at a minus 200. This lawnmower outside my window isn't going to stop by the time I do this ad read. You hear that? I would have made some money at BetOnline AG with that prop. Go check out the BetOnline wrestling odds. That's the only ones you have ever seen on Fightful because we only trust BetOnline AG. They're 25 plus years. They're safe and secure environment. Their high limits, their credit card acceptance is all unmatched. You can bet big with their rebet functionality as well. The earliest lines that you're going to find, whether it be wrestling, MMA, boxing, or other sports, Bet Online. Check them out.
I'm going to give you guys a little rundown too, because way more of you are watching now than were at the beginning of the show. Y'all got your caffeine if you're on the West Coast. You guys are hanging out with us, talking some wrestling, a really, really solid Stand and Deliver tonight, blast of a show. So let me real quick run down for you what you've got all weekend. You got me and this guy. So if you like this show, you can get more of us on FightfulSelect.com. We'll probably, I would say odds are that we'll be a little more maybe outraged about what's happening on the main WrestleMania card. Also, Raw after Mania, we're on Fightful Select. So if you want something alternative to what's on the main, absolutely come hang out with us. You got all the scoops in the land on FightfulSelect.com too. Sean just constantly updating that scoops thread. We also have a Discord server, and not only are there normal people to hang out with and talk to about wrestling, there is an Ask SRS channel in there as well. And on top of that, we just played that Bet Online ad. We put underdog lock picks in that Discord server and behind the wall at FightfulSelect.com. So we like never miss with those. We do really, really well on underdog lock picks. So if you want to make some money, if you are visiting our friends at Bet Online AG, you also want to be subscribed to Fightful Select because you could pay for your subscription for the year probably with what you might win off of one of those. On the main channel, you're going to have Sean and Jeff Hawkins here for nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania, and Sean and Andrew Baydala for Monday Night Raw review. That's what we got going on the main and on FightfulSelect.com. Hang out with us all weekend. It's still WrestleMania weekend, even though the build's been kind of wonky. Like, it's WrestleMania weekend. We're watching wrestling. We're chatting about it. We're having fun. But I will say, this show, I thought, kind of, it did its job of being like, go out there and beat that. I really do. And this ladder match I thought was outstanding. Was outstanding with that.
Yes. I was very impressed with all of them. I saw a lot of people saying Thea Hale's match to lose, and I was like, she just got back. Like, I don't know, like, we haven't reestablished her other than now she likes to yell that she is a grown ass woman. Like, that is so
was she? I thought Eddie Edwards was in this match. I didn't even know that was Thea Hale.
But I think that Soul, you could tell from the crowd reaction, she is a fan favorite. They really have been wanting this for her. I'm worried she's going to have to relinquish the speed title because you're not allowed to have 2 titles at any time. So
I was going to make that joke, but you beat me to it. But she is a dual champion.
Well, come on, get on it then. You have the joke in your head that you gotta use it when it's there, man.
It's a long weekend, but yeah, she is your speed champion, which means that she's not going to be able to keep up this breakneck pace, Alex. She's going to have to relinquish one of them. She's a fighting champion, but that's too much. It's robbing other women of the roster of participating in speed.
Yeah, it is. William
Jeremy
Powell
Lambert, was it Jeremy or Joel who told me that Thea Hale stands are called Halians? It might have been Joel.
Nice. William Powell says, love you guys, having a great WrestleMania week in my hometown. Glad to get to see you live. Awesome, William. That's very cool.
Thank you for hanging out with us. That is very cool.
Speaking of lay cool, parlay cool.
That got me good.
That's good. That's really good. Tim says, I usually suck at this, but Shinlim Sake Nakamura. Is that like that's a game? Is that like what's it? 3-card poker? What's Shinlim? I know I've heard it before, but I don't know the exact.
I don't know what that is too. It's a card thing though, I think, right?
Yeah. Bam Bam Bellagio, very good. And Delgado's got a bunch of them. Malachi Blackjack, Chris Fallen Angel, Soul Rouletka. Loki is Lokino, and Jake the Snake Eyes Roberts, and Nick Wayne Newton.
Nick Wayne Newton is so good.
Very good. Very good. I like that a lot. Somebody says that that we should have bring up Nathan Frazier and Axiom and add them to the SmackDown TLC match they're gonna do. And I was like, they need to be on Raw, but also I don't know when Tommaso Ciampa is going to get cleared. Did you see what happened to him today?
I feel like I think it's a sign that dark times are coming, that I know what Tommaso Ciampa's chin looks like. Like, I think it's a bad omen for the world that I have now seen this man's chin.
Did you know what the wound looked like? Did you
Yeah,
actually-
that was gnarly.
He said he had a fall, and because of that, he got a cut on his chin, and he had to shave off the beard. And then I went and looked through it and found a close-up of the wound.
It's a gash.
Did he fall on a bear trap? Like, were you carrying your axes and knives collection through a banana peel obstacle course? Like, what did you fall on? That is the craziest wound I've ever seen. Like, that is nuts. And also,
obstacle course is one of the funniest things you've ever said.
the chin, just shave the chin, buddy. You keep the mustache and the mutton chops. You'd look like mini Butcher from Butcher and the Blade. It'd look really good. It'd look really good on you.
Your axes and knives collection through a banana peel obstacle course. Oh my god.
Anyway,
I was like, this is AI. This isn't real. And also, how much fun you having in Vegas, Tommaso Ciampa? What were you drinking?
Like this, like that.
You fell down.
Like, was that a thing that like punctured? Like, it was a gap. Like, if he had fallen down forward and had gotten up here, would that have killed him? Like, what did he land on? I need to know the circumstances of this, because that's really lucky that all that happened was you have like a terrible wound in your chin, but they could sew it up and all you got to do is shave your beard.
If they have the balls, they should say it was Alex Shelley who did it. Chris Sabin went in there with a machete at his chin as a warning shot. Let's get some heat on this tag division. We got to escalate to murder eventually. We can't just keep having these like these underhanded tactics. We got to go for the kill for at some point, right?
Yeah. Listen. So we got our obviously Stax is betraying Tony D match.
I loved the video package for this.
The video package was
fantastic.
Excellent. So great. So well done. And they didn't even have to retcon anything. They just told the story as it actually happened. Usually they
didn't even have to retcon anything. Oh, rarity. This is how you know that NXT product's been pivoted. Pivot. I said the P word.
WWE has figured out a way to manufacture their own Mandela effects. Like, where they're just making you like, hold on, did that happen the way you're selling or did it not? I don't remember it happening that way. Oh, well. And then you just move on with your life where they're totally just manufacturing a new version of history. But this was all great. The amazing video package. But when they came out, Tony D is wearing a vest that's stitched on the back. Blood is thicker than water. And I was like, if Stax wasn't turning before, he's definitely turning now. You jinxed it. Like, you can't do that. So the match is really well laid out. Here's the deal. They did on Tuesday, they had the 6-man, and it was Saquon Sugars, Dion Lennox, and Cutler. And tonight they did Saquon, Dion, and Osiris. And I've seen enough. It's Osiris. Osiris is the third guy. Like he's got something about him that is really special. You can tell it's early, but the heft of that dude.
Yeah, like I want to see him versus Gates of Agony with someone. That was like immediately. I was like, put him in there with Colin and Leona.
Kind of thing where here's the deal. I don't know exactly what he's got, but maybe in a month, if you work on him, have him do a whole bunch of stuff. He's the kind of guy where like randomly Femi decides he's going to face somebody from Dark State, and they send in Osiris to do it. And he's as big as Oba smashing into him. That could be a lot of fun. WWE announced that they have bought AAA. They have bought AAA. They bought it. Now, we heard they were going to do a Worlds Collide show with them, but apparently they just friggin' bought it.
So, I'm trying to think of how much I can say. I had heard that they were looking for a buyer. I am surprised that WWE jumped at the chance.
Purchased outright. AAA
Of friggin' what?
That okay, sure.
All right. Well,
I
now
just
think. Hold on. Here we go. What do? Spin it out to the. Think of how many luchadors that El Grande Americano can pin. There's so many now. El Grande Americano beats El Vikingo. El Vikingo, whatever. Whatever you get. Good? Yes?
just be a fan. Just be a fan, not a critic.
Oh, I'm such a fan of this idea, Kate. I'm such a fan. Think this. You know how much I'm a fan of. This is how much of a fan I am. This is me. You can't tell the difference between me and this. It's the same picture. Me, it's like we're twinsies. Me and a fan.
I can't.
Which
Is Alex on the right or the left?
Which one am me? It's me. Which
can't
one am
tell.
I?
Which is
me,
Alex?
or is it me? Which one?
Where-
I can't tell. I can't tell
Twins.
which one
You're
I
the
am.
Spider-Man meme.
Okay. In other news, this because I can't even process this right now.
I'm sorry. Does that mean Alberto Del Rio is in their employ?
It's a package deal. You bought the company. He's coming with it. I'm sorry.
Isn't he like a champion there?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm going to refrain from commenting before I say the wrong things.
Good God. Anyway,
I mean,
so
they could also release everybody in there and just, you know what I mean? Like they very well could.
I hope NXT.
You know what? I hope that means Sam Adonis gets paid.
Here's the deal. Here's the thing that's so great. Because you can tell how sensitive they are, the reverence with which they regard lucha wrestling. They have so much respect for the history of lucha in Mexico, which is why they created the character of El Grande Americano.
This is all
the same.
This is why Penta's a high flyer. What I love about that, Alberto Del Rio is coming back to replace Rey Mysterio. That's what's
not an impossibility at this point.
Not an impossibility is perfectly said.
Okay, so that's fun. Great. Awesome. Anyway, back to this match that I can talk about instead of getting fired. This was really well laid out. Dion Lennox really is impressing me with I did not think that this guy was this. This is a totally different side of him. I really am enjoying what I'm seeing from him. Saquon Sugars continues to be the truth. 100%.
He's incredible. He's so incredible. Absolute phenom.
He's really, really good. And again, I'm so impressed with Osiris in this one. I want to see more of him, but this is not it's not quite seeing Obafemi for the first time. But it is like, okay, I want to see more out of you so I can see whether or not my inklings are correct. Because Osiris Griffin really showed me a lot. I want to see more of what he can do. But this is all about the dissolution of the family. And they played it really well, honestly. So much
they really did.
So much so that I thought, oh, the swerve is them staying together. That was the swerve. And then no. But that the moment where like Cutler was coming over to like stop Tony D from tagging in. So he saw him coming over, so he jumped off the apron and started just beating him up. And then Stacks climbed back up on the apron and he took the hot tag. And then Tony just mad dog Stacks for the rest of the match, just staring at him like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if I trust you. And I think that a lot of it, where at least I got all turned around, was thinking that maybe the Stacks turn, if it happens, has to do somehow with Dark State. And it doesn't. It's not about Dark State in any way. It's about this. So when he brings in some crowbars, and Tony D, who has used crowbars 100,000 times in matches, is like, that's not how we do things around here. Like, since when, Tony?
Well, he did say that wasn't part of my plan.
I know, yeah.
So I like that difference.
Tony D, by the way, amazing hot tag guy. Like when he
Awesome as a
came
hot
in
tag.
and he was just throwing belly to belly and spine busters and doing crazy stuff. God, he is really, really good. Like, it is funny to think, like, if he was just like a Jason Jordynne type, but had a bit of a like New York accent. You know what I mean? Like, that he could absolutely fit in doing that kind of stuff. But like, he's the wrestling and the caricature are so baked in together,
Yes,
that it feels like you can't separate them. But if you just look at his ring work, like, it's impeccable for the kind of guy that he is. He's a suplex machine. You know, also another guy from that area, Taz, also from that area, but like basically the same
machine
thing.
of two suplexes.
He's really, really good. And then there's the big Ange from the top rope spot. What happens is that Cutler takes Luca and runs him headfirst into the ring post, and Luca's done for like 7 minutes. And Big Ange does a huge
Top rope spot, yeah.
thing, which Lucha Ange was really cool.
Which you could see in Triple A.
Yes, you could. She's definitely going to debut.
I don't want to be on air for receiving that news.
El Grande Ange. That's what they're going to call her, El Grande Ange.
El Grande Ange Americano.
El Grande Americancho. So anyway, there's a moment where on the outside, sometimes like, Sugars has Tony D in a sleeper hold, and then in comes Stacks to run in, and it almost hits Tony D, pauses, and then reaches around Tony D's head to hit Sugars, and it's like, all right, on the same page, you me, okay, all right, it's us, big hug. Throws down the crowbar. That's good. We don't need those crowbars anyway. I'm good. He turns around. That's what it is. He turns around and like looks behind him. Like, if you're gonna hit me with that crowbar, do it now. But then he puts the crowbar in the ref's hands, and the ref turns his back. And then Tony is like, "That's right. Me turning my back to you was a good idea." And then he gets kicked in the balls. They finish off Tony D. Ange is beside herself. We don't really ever see what Luca has to say about it until we see later Stacks going to the car and Luca coming up. And I honestly like this because we're not really sure where Luca's going to stand, because he comes like, "What the hell was that, Luca?" He's not angry at Luca. He's not against the whole family. He just does have a problem with Tony D. He says, "Luca, listen, I'll explain everything. I'm going to text you where you can find me.
Keep your phone nearby.
Keep your phone nearby. I'm going to see you on Tuesday." So this is interesting because we're going to see if Stacks can sway Luca to join him against Tony. This would all be, I guess, less of a problem for Tony D if, he had more than just two guys in his mob. You know what I mean? Like, we've been saying he needs to get more guys in a mob. Two guys does not necessarily constitute a mob, but,
Look, I'm not here to tell mob bosses how to mob. I'm no Don, but I know from watching various materials that mobs usually have more than two people, and this is just the kind of reason why.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder. I'll say this: it made me intrigued. Like, the turn was obvious, but I'm intrigued to see where it goes because I think they did do a good job, and I'm like kind of looking forward to the next aspect of this because of because of Stacks being like not just turning on the whole family. Like he very specifically turned on Tony D.
Yes.
So are there going to be a bunch of new people in the family on Tony D's side? Where does Luca Crucifino fit into this when he's not writing legal letters for Chelsea Green? So I'm intrigued by the story, which is to me the best outcome for the match. And also Dark State looked great in it, which they needed to. They got off to a really, really rough start, but as a faction, I'm starting to see where the chips fall a little bit. Like what was funny was it felt like they did this who hired them kind of thing. And then it just turned out that so far nobody did. Like Saquon Sugars is going to be the leader of that group. And we all were like, who's going to be the leader? Osiris Griffin does seem like he has something special to him. And I hope they continue to build on that. And man, I love big men that are just so calm. There's something really intimidating about a guy who is very okay with inflicting that much pain and damage to you. Those are always my favorite type of big guy. Samoa Joe has never been rattled by anything in his life. Oba kind of falls into that category in a different way. But like Osiris Griffin seems to have that same ease about him. And I'm excited to see kind of what comes next. But I'm glad that basically since the family revealed who everybody's personalities were, they it feels like the chips are falling into place for this group.
Yeah.
My only complaint is in that great video package, which was excellent. I don't know if you picked this up, but Tony D calls Ange like the thread that holds everything together, and he says her full name, and he goes, "But everybody calls her Riz," and I was like, "Not us,
Not everybody,
not everyone."
We call her the thing that you called her for months until they changed her name for no reason.
Yeah, and she's forever Big Ange.
Zero reason why she's not Angela Rizzo. Zero.
There's zero reason she's not Big Ange, and that's her legal.
But I mean, like, if
name.
you said we're going to call her Riz, her last name's Rizzo. Why is her name Adriana?
Yeah, just Angelina.
Why is her name not just Angela? You've been calling. They were calling her Big Ange for months, and then they were like, now she's Adriana Rizzo, and I'm like, Angela Rizzo at the very least. No, but still.
And she's Big Ange.
She's always going to be Big Ange to us. Always.
Forever.
Forever. Okay. Women's Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Great.
Really good.
Really good.
Whew.
How
do you feel about Steph retaining?
I don't know why she wouldn't. You made the decision.
Well, just if it were Julia, that's the only thing.
Well, I mean, like,
I don't think it's the wrong decision, but I'm just.
I think if Julia's gonna win it back from Steph, she's got to beat Steph for it one-on-one. That's fair.
You know
I mean? Because
I didn't know if they were
gonna her one-on-one. I didn't want Julia to do the easy way out and pin Jaida and become champion. Like I kind of wanted this to do that. I also see a lot of people are like, oh, they're gonna call him up They're gonna call them all up. But they're calling up Jordynne Grace on Monday. They're calling up Julia on Friday. They're like, I'm like, man, I'm looking at the main roster. They can't find a spot for Roxanne.
Yeah,
they can't find a spot for anybody.
Ahead of time. Jordynne, I think, will go. Jordynne makes sense.
I mean, we will. Nothing makes sense. So like that. So like that's the thing is that Jordynne going up on Friday and beating the tar out of Chelsea Green makes sense, except for they set up this whole thing with Zelina and Chelsea Green. So there's a very good chance they put the tag titles on the Intercontinental Champion until they can't figure out a way to put Alexa Bliss in a WrestleMania story after she came back to the Royal Rumble and was in the Elimination Chamber.
Let's talk about this because you can't just throw her on screen when a stable she wasn't yet in has one injured member.
You're right. That's the rules. I forgot about that. It's in the bylaws.
You can't. A stable she hadn't yet joined has somebody injured. Why would you put her on television? By Jordynne Grace going up, what I mean is like the payroll department probably thinks that she should be on the main roster. Like
I understand that point.
Yeah.
That does make sense. And maybe she does. The spot that I will always remember is her just having a Julia on one shoulder and a Stephanie on the other, and just standing there like it was nothing. I was like, I think she could do more. Give me Bronson Reed on one shoulder and Otis on the other. I'm pretty sure she can handle it. I want to see it. I want her to see.
She's so great, man.
At this, I want to see her walking around with Otis on her shoulders like a dad carrying his 4-year-old at a parade. That's what I want to see. I want to see that. Just give me Otis on her shoulders. I think that's all I need. I thought this was really excellent. Everybody got a chance to show out. The only problem I have with it is a thing that everybody in the crowd loved. So I get outvoted. I really can't stand that a major part of the match was building to the spot that makes Booker T cream his jeans. Like I can't stand that it's a fine spot. Charlotte Flair's been doing that spot for years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't know that I've seen her do it since she came back. But like Stephanie doing it, making Booker T go crazy. And now the fans love that Booker T goes crazy. And so every time it was countered and Booker T was like, oh, but I wanted to do the thing where I went crazy. And all the fans were like, boo, don't counter the thing that makes him go crazy. The whole thing built to her eventually doing it to all of them. And she did it to Jordynne Grace so hard that Jordynne Grace was out of the match afterwards. Jordynne Grace had that move, which is a thing to pop the crowd and also Booker T. That move was done to her, and she was done for like 4 minutes. And I was like, we couldn't figure out a way for her to take the Julia Arrivederci knee or like the Arrivederci knee hit her, and then she gets spun around and then takes this hypnotic and right into SVB doing her big the backbreaker to her. All three, and then like Jordan's out. But the thing that was like the boom, 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 and that's it, and she's done. I was like, that to me really sold short how great Jordynne Grace was in the match and how strong she looked otherwise. But Stephanie Vaquer retaining, I think, is the correct maneuver, and also Jaida is there in the match to take the pin.
Yeah.
So this all went very well. Everything up until that thing that I didn't like at the end was great, and I have no notes to it.
Yeah, I agree that that spot and a couple other times in the match, like I felt like overall they did a good job of being like, it takes a lot to take Jordynne Grace down, but to me it should take a lot to take Jordynne Grace down. Yeah. So there were a couple of things where I felt like if there was just more sequential offense or just a little bit more tenacity behind some of the offense, that could have been something that just made this match caps lock the whole time instead of having some lowercase moments. I'll put it that way. Really, really solid stuff. The only reason I thought you might have Julia win would be there's something kind of interesting for a character to voluntarily give up a title because she's so confident she's going to keep the other one and then she loses it. And her having to be like, I gave up this title for the betterment of the division. And then I'm in this match with all four of these, with three other women, and I stack the odds against myself and I get punished for it. Like, I really, that was the only thing that made me be like, well, maybe they do put it on Julia, but I agree with you that Julia should win it back from Steph. I just felt like there's an interesting character arc in there to not turn her proper heel, but give her a little bit of a motivated edge that I think could be cool. But Steph is over like Rover too. Like there's obviously that spot people were up for, but she's really connected with the crowd in a way that I don't know if Julia had the opportunity to, because her title reign was like a 4-pack that wasn't about her and some stuff like that before she got injured. So I think people will, and I thought Julia's presentation tonight was awesome. Like the entrance and the ring gear was so cool. So I thought this Mike Shutt just took the words right out of my mouth. Might have been Julia's best showing. I think so. I think so. And I'm glad she's back. I'm glad she's healthy and able to wrestle. This match was super, super fun. I feel like all of the elements clicked together, and it was a successful. I think the 1-2 punch worked here of this match being back to back with the main event.
Yeah.
But Alex,
well done. Yeah.
if you're not ready for the main event, if you're worried you're gonna have to go home early,
Uh-oh.
BlueChew.com.
Blue Chew, main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
There you go. There you go. Don't go home early on your main event on Mania weekend.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know how I noticed how special it was for 3 entirely different young black men to be main eventing
Yes.
a PLE? It feels like they noticed too.
Yeah.
It feels like those 3 guys noticed how special it was and how they didn't want to waste this opportunity, because this was awesome. All 3 dudes shone out. Everybody, they totally different styles of working. They told stories in the match, like things that built to other things, big bumps. Everybody sold. This was friggin' great. This was everything. This match, I had ridiculously high expectations for this match. This met and exceeded them.
Yeah.
Same. This was I'm so happy for Trick, because I think this was his best thing that he has done, and I think it vindicates him in the eyes of a lot of people who were his detractors, because this was excellent for him.
Great.
Javon Evans is a phenom who's like otherworldly. The first thing he did was get as high as I've ever seen on a springboard ever. The first thing he did, he ran up, took 3 steps, jumped to the top rope, and went boom. Like, he was so high, he would have been able to just jump off the top rope and then grab the NXT North America Women's Belt. That's how high he got off of it.
And new.
It was really high up there. He could just jump up there.
I want to see him in a ladder match, not use the ladder. Can we get that? That would be great.
Oba,
the best.
It was just the best, man. Like, everything he was doing here, the way that he sold for all of them, the way that he just no, you don't get to hit me like that. I'm about to hit you like this stuff like that. The one open-handed down the old Big Show chop, where it's like he doesn't do this to chop him, he does this, wham, and then you got Trick go, he just toppled. I think he has his face was just awesome. I'm so proud of each of these 3 guys in different ways. But this is the thing I've said. You look at these guys and you don't see the future of your company, you're looking at it wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe turn down the color blindness and those glasses and figure out that these guys are awesome, and that you need to figure out ways of utilizing them to their full potential going forward. They're all so young, and they're all going to be so great. I can't wait to see more of them. This is to basically have, since I've been reviewing this show, to basically watch their entire WWE careers.
It's special,
up until this point, and then see where they could possibly go. I will be over the moon for Obafemi when he wins his first ever WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
Because I watched that dude throw a couch in a promo one time and said that guy's going to be a WrestleMania main eventer one day, and lo and behold, so like I feel like a proud papa watching this. They were so friggin' great.
They really were. Last
so
call
good.
for super chats and humper chats, by the way. One thing that's we are sour graps, right? But part of the fun of sour graps is these trajectories that we get to see grow and blossom. And the other part of that is but before ROH shut down, when it was a 1 hour format with Ian Riccaboni, Caprice Coleman, and it was great. One thing that was very prevalent throughout that whole thing was representation and diversity within that representation. And meaning like that with Hispanic talent, they had luchadors, and then they also had LSG, who was just a Hispanic wrestler with a totally different thing. You had Jonathan Gresham and Shane Taylor doing stuff like the different energies and the different ring styles within that. I think is something that's really special in NXT. And then you expand that to the women's side and you see just how much screen time they're getting. And now, especially because all the heels aren't just bad girls, like there's such a fresh mix of styles and people that look like little kids watching this stuff. That's important. If you are not moved by a little girl doing the Bianca Belair entrance, like a little black girl doing that, you're missing it. So I love that they had the space and the story to showcase what they all do best, and that it all came together in such a great way. Like, this was easily, in my opinion, he had some good matches with Pete Dunne, but like, this is Trick's best matches since the Mello feud, maybe even better than that. Like, this has been really, really great for him. I even liked the ref spot where Femi yanked the ref out from preventing the count. Trick looks at him like absolute meme face that's going to be going around the internet. But I love that Femi didn't just keep or Devon Evans didn't kick out with that extra time. He was still knocked out by Trick, but Femi got in time to break up the pin. That was a nice variation on that spot.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that a lot.
I liked that too. And now I look for, because you had mentioned it, you had said like you can't sell things exactly the same way, and Femi doesn't do that.
Yes.
Now that's something I seek out a little bit more. Something I noticed, but now I'm proactive about looking for it.
Yeah.
That a lot in this match, and it gives me. It's funny. It's kind of a little bit of buzz about him. That was something I noticed a lot with Rusev. One of the best big man sellers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because he makes it believable that he's getting beat, but it doesn't compromise him from being a monster. And Femi has unlocked that very, very early in his career. Very, very early. This was outstanding. It was a great showcase of what everybody brings to the table. Trick was really outstanding from the perspective of I would say that in-ring isn't his biggest strength, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I think the upsides of him on the mic and charismatically are so high. I certainly was never like a he can't work person, but today it felt like his in-ring was kicked up quite a bit. And I thought the way this match was laid out was very beneficial to all of them. Javon is so special, and I think right now part of his story is that he's just an insane wrestler who isn't wise enough to fully be there yet, but he is the young OG. That is real. Like, he has his opponents calculated and clocked, and he just hasn't found a way to win yet, but he's got it someday. And it's awesome. It's awesome. I loved this main event. A lot of pressure going on as the main event when the women have been such a standout, and how great that match was. But this did its job. This did its job. And it was, to me, I was like, this is fun, because that locker room can turn around and say, all right, WrestleMania, go top that. The review was great. And the last two matches, especially, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really fun. Really
the,
fun.
The spot also Trick pulls out the referee, and because he did that, he did not win. Because later he hits the knee, and the ref's not in there to take to do the pin. And then the ref tries to get in, and Oba grabs him by the belt.
Great camera angle.
No, this is great. And I like the ref kicking himself free. It's like, I have to do my job, sir. And he gets in the ring.
Shawn Michaels ref. Like how Shawn Michaels would get thrown over the top rope and be like, no.
And then we get Oba diving back into the ring at the last second. That dude can move when he needs to.
He's quick. He's quick.
I thought this was all excellent. This was where I loved the finish of Oba had gotten a bunch of stuff done to him, but he sees the opening. Obviously the wrestler himself needs to see the opening, but Oba does it in character somehow.
Yes.
As Trick
he communicates it with his eyes.
He sees Javon there. He sees Trick running to deliver the knee, and says, as soon as he does that, I'm getting up, grabbing him, putting him onto Javon. He saw the opening. If he hits that on Javon, Javon's done. If I can then get Trick out of the way, I can pin Javon with one more move. He feels like a smart big man, which they very rarely do. It used to be that Vince used to book big men like they were dinosaurs. The bigger they are, the smaller their brain was.
Yep.
And I'm really happy that it looks like Oba is trying to figure out a way to combat that. He always feels like he is trying to especially because he's always in these multi-man matches. He's always got to face two dudes at once who want to pin him, yes, and thank God they also want to pin each other. Otherwise, that's really unfair to him. But that whole thing of him just being recognizing, because he's been in enough of them. I like that he's gotten better at it. But if I can figure out how these two dudes are going to counteract each other, then I can get one out of the way and pin the other guy. If he does this over and over and over again, it would stand to reason he would get better at it. And I like that you can see his progression in these types of matches. Although now, because Javon was pinned, this story cannot end. This chapter of Oba cannot end until he beats Trick Williams one-on-one. Because it was one-on-one until Eddie Thorpe came back and got involved.
Yes.
And then here it is. It's one-on-one, but no, Javon Evans gets himself added to the match because of all the other stuff. And so it's never one-on-one. So he's got to pin Trick Williams in a one-on-one match. And once he does that, then you can move Trick to something else. And this is the beginning, though. Javon getting pinned by Oba in this triple threat is the beginning. It's the first part of that overall arc of Javon Evans has to be the guy who eventually dethrones Oba Femi. If you can figure out a way to get to that point by Stand Deliver next year, I'm totally fine with it. Would I prefer that Oba Femi hold the title for 8 years? Sure. But if it's going to be only until Stand Deliver next year, then Javon Evans has got to be that dude. Absolutely.
I think I'm ready for Oba Femi to have a story-based feud again, because it's been a lot of multi-man matches and it's been a lot of things that he's moved on from pretty quickly. I feel like I'm ready for him he should still come out on top and he shouldn't lose his title in it. And I understand entirely the value that they've been building and having him move this quick and beat multiple guys and stuff. But because he's so damn good in promos and persona and stuff, I also want to see that aspect get yanked out a little more and him find the right opponent for such a thing. So I'm very much looking forward to the future of Oba Femi. And I actually thought Corey Graves, they kind of signed off with him saying Oba Femi won, but I'm just so excited about the future for all these guys. And Corey being a heel commentator, it was kind of actually nice to hear him set that down and just give praise to those guys, because they worked their asses off today. And I'm man, this was a blast of a watch.
Yeah,
Like
it was great.
this was really, really fun match and a really fun show overall.
Yeah.
Wild to say.
Really, really excellent stuff. So hold on, we get win 6, not the Tropicana, but the Tropa Hurricane and Deanna Palazzo.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm. And
we have some Humper Chats in Humper Chat land, by the way.
Okay, great. Then I like this one from Tim McFall. Hands down match of the year in WWE. So far, I don't know what beats it. Trick's best match, in my opinion. Javon and Oba are destined to do this for the next decade. Future Mania main eventers many times over. From your lips to everybody's ears. And then Cyclops says that Trick is beating the can't graps allegations tonight.
Legit.
Yes, 100%. 100%. So let's see here. I don't have anything in the document other than that. So
Van Twinblade saying,
oh,
y'all, I said Bandit versus Zack Sabre Jr. was going to be some effing fire, and it was peak anime BS. Someone felt Bandit the F up yesterday, so that was
okay.
in there. ZSJ's having a fun weekend. Him and Gresham at Bloodsport was a blast, and there was a clip that Joel Pearl of all people got. Because that's like no ring ropes, and he always goes to stretch on the ropes before a match starts. He just like whiffed with his leg. He's just so damn fun. He's fun as hell. And an ally. So I'm glad he was on Big Gay Brunch.
DNC Digital says there's about to be so many more members to the LWO. Yeah, it's just full on.
They'll all only face each other.
All of them. Just all of them. And they'll only be able to face each other or be teaming with each other. Also, they announced that Rey Mysterio is officially out due to the injury that he suffered last night, which does suck. But what doesn't suck, replacing him, Rey Fenix.
Rey Fenix, yeah.
Rey Fenix, like coming in and immediately getting a WrestleMania singles match that unfortunately he's probably going to lose because troll jobs.
See, I actually wonder now if that's going to flip the booking, because I thought for sure Mysterio was going to lose, but now I'm like, no. I don't know if they want to do that to Fenix yet, but we'll see.
I mean, I think that I don't know. I honestly, I don't know.
The day you announce you bought AAA, you're going to have them lose.
I mean, it is kind of their deal, though. So, we'll see. We will see how that works. But I'm very happy for Rey Fenix and for Penta to both be doing that.
Me too.
So,
Me too.
Yes, it was very, very nice of Triple H to make the announcement on the pre-show, surrounded by all the Mexican and Hispanic members of the roster standing there, and some of them were very appreciative. You could tell Andrade not so happy though. Andrade did not enjoy, not thrilled by the announcement. Andrade, so
runner-up battle royal winner.
We'll see how this goes. Tonight, everybody, you will see us on FIFA Select behind the paywall reviewing night 1 of WrestleMania. It is always a very fun time over there. All the silliness that we normally do on our normal Tuesday night show will be done tonight. Transfers tonight.
Goes through the transfer window.
So good. Portal. You have less than an hour until the opening entrance of it's yeeting. The open entrance is yeeting. You'll be yeeting, but thankfully the entrance will start right around the 7 p.m. Eastern hour and will finish around 7:18 p.m. So if you don't need to watch the yeeting, you could extend your dinner hour for that long. But until then, keep cool, gabagools.
Yeah, we kind of can't say everything sucks for this one. This was a good show, but we'll see you on Fightful Select, and keep cool, gabagools indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.